I want to express my outrage at the despicable attack today against the French magazine Charlie Hebdo. It was a horrendous, unjustifiable, and cold-blooded crime. It was also a direct assault on a cornerstone of democracy, on the media and freedom of expression.
The United Nations remains to many a hollow organization with a fancy mandate and little in the way of actual leadership. And the events in Paris this week have people around the world, and especially here in America, asking how an organization charged with making the world a better place can be taken seriously when even the terrorists find solace and refuge in their arms. It's a pleasure to welcome back to MidPoint conservative political activist, former diplomat, and former United Nations Ambassador Alan Keyes joins us. Ambassador, thank you so much for being here.
Glad to be with you. Thank you.
Is this simply what happened in Paris, the biggest wake-up call that maybe the world has received about terrorism and murder in the name of God since 9/11?
Well, I think it could be, though I fear that we have not been wakeful in watching the signs that, on account, I think, of the retreat of the United States government under Obama from leadership in areas like this, we are finding that our enemies and the enemies of freedom and security for innocent folks around the world are emboldened. And organizations like the United Nations, remember, were founded in the wake of World War II as a result of the leadership and initiative of the United States of America. Insofar as they have had any effectiveness, it was because we were willing to take a lead and were serious in our commitment to things like the basic tenets of a liberty that include freedom of the press, the basic tenets of rights that include respect for the basic rights God endowed of human beings. We've backed away from all of this in the course of the last decade, and especially in the course of the tenure of Barack Obama. Lip service is paid, but all the things that are necessary, economic strength, military strength, a clear sense of our commitment to the basic ideas and principles of government and human dignity, all these things have been cast aside, and nothing has really been done to maintain our strength, which is fundamental, I think, to the will that the world is going to have against this kind of atrocity.
Ambassador, let's bring this around then to the world. We talked about the United Nations here. This is an organization that is supposed to be set up to bring nations together, find peaceful solutions, find ways for countries to act together. This is also an organization that is recognizing certain terrorist organizations now. And this, of course, is the battle between Israel, Hamas, the Palestinians. But how then and why does the United Nations simply continue to sit on the sidelines? International events like this happen, and to the American people and others, they seem to do absolutely nothing and are totally useless in trying to find answers.
Well, let me be frank. I think it's clear if you look at the history of the UN and the various and assorted things it did manage to accomplish, some of them good and some of them quite bad. The bad things always come up because the key to everything, which was the leadership of the United States, was absent. And the good things came about only because United States leadership was present and active. The United Nations, in point of fact, was the brainchild and was brought into the world by the midwifery, if I can call it that, of a United States that was, in the wake of World War II, committed to government of, by, and for the people, premised on respect for basic human dignity and human rights. And that was what was supposed to be the core and heart of the United Nations. We ourselves have been following leaders who have backed away from that view. We have rejected the notion that, in fact, there is a common humanity that requires respect from government powers and religious powers and other powers if human beings are to be treated with dignity.
So then it's simply stated then, in your opinion, that as the United States goes, the United Nations goes, correct? If we're not there, in your opinion.
As the United States goes, the world goes. And as we are faltering, the hope for the world that more than once in the 20th century, we didn't represent it with words. We didn't represent it by saying, well, blather this and blather that, and I feel awful. We maintained our strength, and we deployed that strength with wisdom and consistency whenever we could in the defense of liberty, in the defense of human dignity, in the defiance of the kind of atrocious governments and organizations that are now deploying their terror against people around the world. If we don't rediscover that capacity and rediscover leaders who are willing to think it through, maintain it, and deploy it, then I think the world is in for a hard time, and we along with them.
All right, Ambassador, please stand by. We're going to take a break, come back second go round with Alan Keyes, and we'll focus on America when we continue right here on MidPoint.